Welcome to Regan's Corner Sports Network, the home of satellite sports. So, Eric Spears, what does it look like in year two here as the head basketball coach?
Optimistic, I think, is a good word. Energetic is a word I like to use all the time. Um, I think our goal last year as a coaching staff was to build relationships, not just with kids playing basketball, but with kids in the classroom, our fans, the kids that come all the time, the parents, and I feel like it starts with the players. So that was something that we really wanted to address was building those relationships, making sure the kids um, not necessarily like you. You don't need them to be your friend, but you want them to respect you. You want them to enjoy being around you. And I thought that was important more so than wins and losses and um, having your program expectations be put in place, and so the kids understand. So now when we have open gyms, kids know, hey, you blew the whistle, stop dribbling the basketball, or little things like that like they just know now going into year two. But I thought number one was building the relationships, and I thought we did that. So I'm really excited to now build upon that because just like in a classroom, and it's the reason why I believe coaches make the best teachers because that's what we do anyway. We teach. If you get them to believe in you as a person, you can get them to believe in your system, into your ideas, into your philosophy, but they have to believe in you first. So in my classroom, we currently have couches in theirs and chairs, and I have like a little pantry of food, and the kids come by and talk to me before school and after school and during lunches. And I think that was a big component of year one. So I think going to year two now is building off of those relationships, which is let's start ramping up a notch of what we're trying to accomplish on the basketball floor. And so
Right.
I think there's a lot of energy and there's a lot of excitement going into year two.
Absolutely. And then you got some key juniors coming back with Walsh and Grass. We jokingly call Grass the rooster here because just tenacity on basketball court and baseball. So kind of build those kind of players up with the rest of your roster. So what are some aspects that better with the wins and losses and the kind of the bond that you've created in year one?
Um, are you talking specifically with those guys, or are you just in general?
In general, kind of from your star players to the whole team?
I think that you mentioned the two guys who I would talk a lot about. Um, this summer, though, we had between 12 and 17 guys every single day, which I know that doesn't mean a lot to a lot of people, but my first year we had like four. I had four dudes coming all the time, and
Right.
I think creating that atmosphere of respect and um, building those relationships, those kids now want to be around us, and we want to be around them. We have a great group for the next couple of years coming back, and it is spearheaded by the Braden Grasses, who, like you said, I call him a psycho all the time, but it's like in the best way because he reminds me so much of myself. He's obviously a better athlete than I ever was, but he does not like to lose ever at anything. Shooting drills, ball handling drills, sprints, um, 5-on-5 open gym. He's not going to lose, and when he does, it's not fun for anybody in the gym. And that's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. Sometimes we have to tell him to tone it down, and I'd rather have to tell a guy that as opposed to, hey, we need a little more from you. Derek Welsh is probably the most important key that we have for the next 2 years. And the reason is his leadership and how he approaches our basketball program. Um, I, I'm not going to be shocked if Derek ends up being our team captain. He definitely has my vote because he's the guy everybody comes to. His basketball knowledge is one thing, but the respect the guys have for him because he shows up every day and he works hard, and his improvement of what he did this summer um, is not matched by many guys on our team. And so he's a huge linchpin. But then you go down the line, and the reason I'm optimistic and excited for next year is because you go down the line of every guy that we have, and I can talk to you about them for 5 minutes about how much they improved. And I'll do it. I mean, we have Zach Kimmel, who can shoot the crap out of the ball, And all he's done this summer is improved on that. He's turned one of his strengths into something that he's really good at now. And Clayton Stroud was a guy that I told him, I'm so no surprise to him, that I thought he was going to be a JV player again next year. And he's grown so much just because he's shown up that he's going to be a varsity basketball player for us. He might even start for us. Kevin Higley showed up every day this summer, another one who didn't last year, and now he's grown exponentially as a whole. Braden Lonbach couldn't catch a basketball and chew gum at the same time at the beginning of last year, and now he's down in the post making post moves, and he's slimmed down a little bit, so he's been able to move his feet a little better, and he does the football thing, so he's able to he gets in the weight room and he does the footwork for football. So all of that has grown his abilities exponentially, and now you include the incoming freshman Jay Huerta, who has shown up every single day, and Noah and Jack and Joey, and all these guys came, and what the summer does is allow for that improvement individually, and that's what we've gotten. So it makes next year all these kids now have this excitement because they see it in themselves, like, oh wow, I'm a better shooter now, I'm a better ball handler now. This it could be fun. So all the credit goes to them, but that's why there is that part of it, and it all starts with Braden Grass and Derek Welsh, who since day one they've been doing that. When I said I had 4 guys last summer, they were 2 of the 4, so they're used to it, and now these other guys seem to be following suit.
So do you think kind of the winning ways from baseball that Grass and Welsh kind of experienced, do they carry that into the basketball season here? Because you have a wide open PCC this year. Boone Grove's probably the favorite, but that thing is wide open.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt, right? I mean, if you anytime you experience winning, and get a taste of it, that's what you want to do. And this is why I tell guys to play as many sports as they can. And I have a saying in our school, and all the kids say it all the time now, is I say play them all the time. And this is why. Because even if you're not, like, let's look at Derek Welsh, right, who maybe didn't get a lot of playing time on the baseball field last year because of how loaded that team was. He got to experience the day-to-day operations of what it takes to win. Whether it's baseball, football, basketball, tennis, cross country, doesn't matter.
Right.
You experience that day-to-day, and now in a sport where he is going to get a ton of minutes next year and play a lot, he knows, well, hey, look, that's great that you have a doctor's appointment tomorrow, but we got practice, dude. You got to come. Like, you got to show up to do the things you have to do. And I think the talent in high school sports takes you a long way as a coach. You know, any coach that says, like, oh, I won 20 games because I'm the greatest, it's probably because you had good players. So we've got some decent players and some pretty good players, but definitely experiencing the winning aspect of any program that you're a part of is going to help you into the next program, even if it's subconsciously and you don't even know it.
Absolutely. Way South Central's kind of going with the girls programs and stuff like that, and the boys not too far behind with baseball. Football having some success last year. You guys looking better at the second part of the year. So what things do you take away from that second part versus the first part, kind of the growth that your boys showed, getting a couple wins, getting a dub on the road against Washington Township last year?
That's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it, because I think that was the key to our success the second half of the year. I think we preached every single day, and we still do. Like, we had practice with it. I tell the kids every open gym, our goal is just to be better every day. If your goal, and it should be, even if you're on the baseball team going to semi-state, right? You still got to get better now next Wednesday, because you're going to be playing a game Saturday of a team that's a better opponent, right? I mean, that's just how it is.
Right.
And I felt like for the first half of the year, this is going to sound wrong, but the kids didn't really buy into it because we weren't winning a lot, right? So it's hard to be like, okay, we're not getting better because we're still not winning. But also, now, to their credit, they flipped that around and they're like, you know what? We are getting better. We have to just continue to do this. And then we got that win against Washington Township. Then we lose on just a crazy, ridiculous last-second shot to Culver, which I would give that's the only shot the kid made, and I'd give him that shot 30 more times. And then we go into a sectional against a team we were picked to lose by 15, and we win by 17. And then we go into the second night, and we're up after the first quarter against the team that won the sectional championship. So the objective is to get better every day. And I think what our kids really saw, even though when you look at the totality of our season, you see 4 wins, what the kids saw was, holy crap, like we got better every day and looked like at the end of the year, even though we still were losing games, we were competitive.
Right.
We had Westville in the fourth quarter at home on senior night. Like we were competitive all the way till the end. And now what those kids I think did was take that into this summer where we're even more competitive in our summer games. And now they're like, okay, he's right. Like we just have to get better every single day. And when you do that, the result of the game is the result. You're going to win and lose games, but as long as you're getting better and improving, the wins are just going to naturally go up because you're improving. And so I think one thing we took from last year was getting better every day. And then our kids really realized you have to come together as a team. Not the really, really good teams, like the great teams, the teams that have a chance to win state, the South Central baseball teams, trying to think the Couch basketball team from a couple years ago. They have 1 or 2 guys who are like amazing, right? Like really good, no matter where you put them, no matter where Brad Farrell plays baseball, he's going to be really good. It doesn't matter where he goes.
Right.
We don't necessarily have that right now. So we have to do this all together as a unit. And one guy might have 11 points one night and then 0 points the next night because it's just the way the game goes. And I think for our guys last year, it kind of took them a while to see that. Like, as anybody, as any person, you want to be successful. So when you go out and have 0 points, you think, man, I didn't play well. Well, no, you had 0 points because you had 20 the game before, and Washington Township took you away. And we had other guys, because that's what our system fits for, is for multiple guys to do multiple things. And I think it took some time to buy into that. And now we have that. And so I think the end of last year was really important for us. And I think we still have that chip. Like in the locker room, we're going to have a nice little clock that counts down to when we get to play a sectional game. Because I don't want them to forget what it was like, how upset we were that we lost to North Judson, because I think it was only the third time all year when we actually felt like we could beat a team. And when we lost, we were disappointed.
Absolutely. Just kind of looking at the stats from that game versus the first time you played them, North Judson had a great team, and they lose a couple seniors here and there. So that sectional is kind of open for grabs as well in that North Judson, even though they still have key players coming back. Like you said, kind of building into all that stuff. So what is kind of the philosophy, like scheme-wise, going into year 2, like play-wise and stuff like that?
I think we have to keep it at we get better every day. Some things that we really took from last year and what we talked about with a lot of our players in their exit interview was they weren't quite ready to play as fast as we wanted them to at the beginning of the year. And what I mean by that is, anytime you're adapting a new style of play, whatever the style of play is, it doesn't matter. There's an adjustment period, right? Where like the kids are trying to figure it out and, okay, you want me to do this? Because, I had a lot of guys last year, believe it or not, and it would frustrate me, would say, you want me to shoot that? Yeah, I want you to shoot it. You're open. Shoot the ball. Like, why are you questioning why are you shooting? I never as a player, no one ever said, like, I always was told, Spear, chill out, man. Stop shooting. I had to tell so many guys last year, shoot it. You're open. Why didn't you shoot that? You instead of shooting it, you turned it over. Shoot the ball. So I think that took some time, but I also felt like they kind of took the playing fast. It's like, we got to do it all the time. Every possession, every time the ball goes in, we would be after timeouts. We'd throw the ball in and dribble the ball at the court as fast as we could because they were like, well, he wants us to play fast. So I think one thing we learned was when to play fast, how to play fast, what it actually looks like. And then on top of that, we learned how to grind out the possessions when we needed to. I felt at the beginning of the year, and you were there.
Right.
If a possession lasted 30 seconds or longer, it was guaranteed that South Central was going to turn it over. It was like a guarantee. You might as well have just stopped watching the next 10 seconds. And I felt like at the end of the year, it was like, okay, we are trying to get quick shots and good shots, but if we don't, you still have to get the ball moving side to side. And I think one thing that is going to look different this year is, last year I really felt like we had one real consistent guy, and that was Sam Haschel. And The problem with that is the defense knew it, the other teams knew it, the other coaches knew it, and I don't mean like we had guys that eventually filled into their roles, but we had one guy that we knew, okay, he's gonna get 12 points. I think next year we kind of have that feeling about 3 or 4 guys where we're like, okay, we can kind of open up our system where we don't have to call so many sets for just one guy, and we can kind of just play a little bit, and we trust these 3 or 4 guys getting open shots. And so I don't expect anybody to have like 20 points a game, but I would expect that we have 3 to 4 guys that average between 8 to 13 points a game, and that would be huge for us. That's hard to guard.
For sure. And I think the kids had a little bit of a judgment problem because the last 2 coaches wanted it slow, Wagner and Brands. Because I remember in my days, he told us not to shoot it. The opposite what you're telling us. And I love your style of play a lot more. And I think a lot of alums would just kind of go fast, kind of this and that. So last year, noticing like because it just looked like some of the players were in their own heads trying to go here, here, here. I'm kind of noticing a little bit because all of them could dribble, could shoot. It was just that mental part of it. So how do you kind of bat that mental part when you're looking at the film?
That's another good question, and this is that right there was the biggest conversation me and my coaches had, because I'm not a big believer in telling, hey Josh, you've missed your last 15 threes, so let's not take one next game. I'm not a big fan of that because there might be a fourth quarter where Josh has a wide open 3 and it's the best look, and we're going to need him to knock it down, and that's going to have to be the one he makes for us to tie the game. However, what we did a lot of was as a team, and it wasn't much individual. It was a team of, was that a good shot? Doesn't matter who took it. And what we define as a good shot is, do you have room? Are you in rhythm? And is it something you practice? And did we create an advantage before we got the shot? Meaning, did I draw the double team and kick it out and we got it open? Because if the guy's wide open and he makes it 20% of the time, that's still better than turning the ball over. It just is. And that's my philosophy on basketball. And I know there's many ways to do it, and guys have success doing it other ways. But I'm just in the believer of, if we practice it, if we do drive and kick 3s in the corner 100 times of practice, and that guy makes 20 out of 100, he has still shot 100 of them for the week.
Right.
And so he's going to make one of them in a game, and it's better than him catching it and thinking, shit, should I shoot it? Should I do this? Should I do this? What should I do? And then turning it over. And so it's that fine line of like having confidence in the kids, because we do, but also they have to then accept and reciprocate the coaching aspect of it, which is, okay, we want you to shoot, but what advantage did we create there before you shot the ball? And I'll tell you, as consistent as Sam was at scoring, Sam was one of the worst guys we had with that at the beginning of the year, because he knew for us to win games, he had to score 15 points. Like, it was like, if you go through our games, you're like, oh, South Central almost won that game. Oh, Sam had 19. Oh, they got blown out. Sam had 9. Like, it was like, it was right there, right? Sam had to have 15 points for us to have a chance, and he knew that. And so I felt like the first 10 or 15 games of the year, he constantly was like, man, I've only got like 3 or 4 shots. I need to force one. And then when he started to pass the ball more within the offense, it got him more open. And I think that's something we focus a lot on film, is give the ball up, get the ball back. And I think that mental part of it, of giving guys confidence, like missing a shot to me means nothing. I don't care. You're going to miss a shot. That doesn't bother me. I want to know, was the process that we took to get that shot, was that the right thing to do? And I tell the kids that all the time. We are not a results-based program. We are a process-based program. And if the process was right and the result didn't go our way, okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. But here on Regan's Corner, with last segment of our interview is called the Hot Corner. Kind of get to know you a little bit, Coach. So what is your go-to meal before game or in the film study?
My go-to meal. Let's see. I usually, if we're at school, I have to get a go-to meal. There's not a lot, as you know, in Union Mills. So
Yeah.
I like to get a. My assistant usually brings a Subway sandwich, and that's what we have. If it's film, I have a lot of water because one thing that I still need to improve on is keeping my mouth shut because I will talk the whole time during film and do this, but I'm trying more to let the kids tell me what they see because it doesn't matter if I see it. I mean, it does, but if they can't adapt it to a game, right? If Sam can't take it to a game that he's taking bad shots and he keeps doing it, then it doesn't matter if I see it. And so, a water is definitely for film, a lot of water, but I'll say a Subway sandwich before a game.
Absolutely.
Actually, hold on,
Can't
that's
be
a lie. A popcorn and a Diet Coke from the concession stand. All the kids will tell you that. They're probably when they see us, they're gonna scream at me. It's definitely a popcorn. I have to try everybody's popcorn and a Diet Coke.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
I know.
So for your times coaching, who has the best concession stand?
Okay, so I'm gonna throw a little cloud here over North Judson, but it's only because the kids talked up North Judson last year's concession stand. So like me and my assistants, we took money out the bank. We were ready to go eat this concession stand, and I had it, and I'm like, "What is this?" Like we went scouting there, and I'm like, "This is nothing." Um, if we're talking popcorn, because that's like what I grade everybody on. Let me think here. Hebron had some real good popcorn last year. Trying to think, it was Hebron. There was another Couch. Couch has a pretty good concession stand. When we went there for the PCC tournament,
Yeah,
I was impressed. So those are two last year that I would give the nod to right now.
for sure. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So what what rank the top 2 all-time sports movies that you personally think of?
Top two, you're gonna make me choose two. There's so many, man. Okay. Remember the Titans has to be one of the two. Just the story behind it. Um,
Right.
the way they did the movie, they get you in all your feelings. I gotta go remember the Titans, and I gotta go. There's a couple here for me. I love Glory Road. I'm a big
Yeah.
basketball aficionado. Glory Road is a great one. Love and Basketball is a good one if you want to count that as a basketball movie. Coach Carter is a good one. I'm gonna say it's a tie between Coach Carter and Glory Road for second.
Okay. Okay. I'll accept that. Both is really good movies. So who's number 1? Remember the Titans?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is the number 1 snack? Okay. Like if you're going to the movies or something like that that you pick up.
I'm not a big snack guy, but I'm gonna answer it with one that you're not expecting. Homemade brownies is like if you made me some homemade brownies, I could eat the entire pan with no problem. Actually, last year for my health class, the final project was you had to cook something and give like the calories on it, the nutrition facts, and I had 3 or 4 kids make homemade brownies, and it was just like right from the box. Just put it in the bowl, mix it with the eggs. That's probably the best snack I can think of. I'm not a big like snack guy. I like meals. Um, so I'd say homemade brownies.
Absolutely. So, what's one game you're scheduling on the calendar? Just every year you schedule. Just circle.
The next one, I
Absolutely.
know that's not the answer you're looking for. The kids might tell you Westville or Couch, and that's great. But I think a lot of our success again last year came from just believing you had to get better every day. And if we're as good against Wheeler the first game as we are against Westfield the last game, then we're going to have a ton of problems. So, to answer your question, though, truthfully, to answer your question, I think it's every PCC team. I want South Central basketball to be competitive in the PCC, and that doesn't mean win it every year, but I want us to be competitive. And so I think those games should mean a little more for us, should mean a little more for our community, should mean a little more for our kids, and I think it does. So I circle every PCC game. We have like a weekly thing on a board. Every PCC team we play, the Sky report goes up there. So I mean, every PCC team. I think it'd be crazy for the coaches to not say the same thing that we want to win those games, and they mean a little more.
Okay, nice. I agree. So, last question. Is this the year the drought ends for a sectional championship for boys basketball here?
Is this the year? I'm going to say if we get better every day and we truly get better every day, we're going to put ourselves in a position to give ourselves a chance based on the draw. Would I tell you that we would be the favorite tomorrow if it started? No, I would not. There's no way. But I also think if you asked people last year in January if South Central is going to win a sectional game and then compete with the sectional champions in Game 2 on a Friday night, people would have laughed at you. They would have said no way. I mean, like I said, John Harrell had us losing by 15. Didn't matter who we draw. And I told the kids that when we drew LaVille. You know, everyone's all excited. And I said, you know who's more excited than South Central about their draw, right? That's LaVille. LaVille's really excited right now. Do I think this could be the year? Absolutely. I think every year could be. I thought last year could have been the year. And I'd be stupid not to say it. I don't care who puts it on their bulletin board. I think our kids need to believe that because that's 90% of the process. So do I think this year could be the year? Hell yeah, I do. And I think every year after that could be a year too. So that's just how I think.
Well, thank you, Coach, for coming on here. Hope to have you on. And I look forward to covering a lot of your games this year and a lot more, especially even on the road, since we have sponsors with American Legion this year and stuff like that. So go Satellites and stay froggy, my friend.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it, man.
You're welcome.